quite a flowing track, but it's also one that's quite hard to make a move at unless someone makes a mistake. So it'll be interesting to see how many mistakes these drivers make, as we have Graham Shifty and Bryus both out on the track at the moment. As I can hear the drivers in my ear as well with the earpiece. So, or some of the drivers, actually, drivers I can hear in my ear are. Let me just confirm really quickly before Graham Shifty starts his lap. I can hear Mr. Moo, otherwise known as Cow's Mocking, who's the Alpine in 9th. I can also hear half a lap Harry, who is in the Red Bull in 5th. And I may hear Smidge Bomb, who is the, I believe, Aston Martin, yep, in 10th, as well as Flobberlob, but he cannot hear anyone at the moment in the Alpine, so he's concentrating at the moment. Yeah, heading into someone there, we have Graham Shifty heading around. Let's turn the track map on as well as the lap data so that you can see what's happening with Graham Shifty. On the YouTube, on the Twitch, you won't be able to see this, as you're only able to see my face cam due to technical difficulties that I cannot work out at the moment. Heading into turn 4, one of the fastest corners on the track, an incredible section of commitment, which is this middle sector of the Hungaroring, trying to find the limit of grip on the top of the track at the moment. Heading through the S's, Shifty very committed at the moment in that Sauber, as we head round the 11th corner into turn 12, heavy braking zone, 90-degree right-hander up into the last two hairpins, then the last left-hand hairpin before the last right-hand hairpin. He goes around the outside of the pit lane, and Graham Shifty here, he's P3 at the moment, but what will the benchmark time be for the Sauber driver? It will be a 1 minute 16.5. Let's see what Bryus does. Bryus goes up to P1. He goes ahead of his teammate by 0.3 of a second. That's very nice from him. One of the Haas cars is K9 Cube, who's gone over a second behind Graham Shifty. So not a good lap from him. What about Luko Siux? He goes to pole position with a 1:15.5. That's a whole second quicker than Graham Shifty in 3rd. So very quick times here around the technical Hungaroring. As we have one of the Red Bulls coming up to the line. That will be Half Lap Harry's starting lap alongside Randro. I think Smidge Bomb is on a flying lap. He is. So Smidge heading round the last corner. How is the 75 Aston Martin going to do? He's had a very frantic season so far, has Smidge Bomb, and he goes up to a nice P4. A second behind Graham Shifty and 0.2 ahead of K9 Cube, who is in 5th. As meanwhile there's a yellow flag for traffic management, as Smidge Bomb's just got pushed down the order, down to P5. That's K's in the Ferrari this time. Goes up to P4. He was in Haas last time out, now he's in Ferrari. As K's needs one whole second to get ahead of Bryus, who is in P2 at the moment. His Sauber teammate Graham Shifty behind him by 0.2. Also coming into the pits with his teammate. As K's still improving on his lap so far. He's really wringing everything out of that Ferrari car at the moment. Let's have a look at Bernolds then. Underdog here in Slav Talk Racing, as his teammate Luke Anarchy goes ahead of K9 Cube by 0.2 of a second. And over the line for Bernolds, he doesn't get ahead of K9 Cube, but Luke Anarchy a few hundreds behind Smidge Bomb. That's 0.15 of a second between Smidge Bomb and Luke Anarchy. So incredible stuff. Meanwhile, Half Lap Harry's just gone up into P4, a 10th behind Graham Shifty, and a big margin ahead of K's in the Ferrari. Speaking of, the Ferrari has just come into the pits. That looks like a potential late call, as he was improving on his lap earlier. Meanwhile, we have Arimus on an outlap. Haven't seen him for a couple of races, but he's back and raring to go here. Arimus, he's always on form, always at the sharp end of the field. Let's have a look at the number 21 V-Carb in the pink helmet into turn 1. He brakes at the start of that curb on the driver's left-hand side. He hugs the apex tight as he heads into turn 2, then brakes at the 50-meter wall, turns in, very aggressive on the turn in there. He's trying to wring everything out of that V-Carb on the entry and the exits. Heading up to Sun 4. How committed is he going to be through here? Very quick through there, nearly over the curb. As Purple sector 1 for Arimus, so he's going to go up the order by a bit. I have to say so myself, he could put himself up into potentially the top 6, I reckon, as he goes down the S's. As Lukanowski gets a penalty and gets disqualified from the session. Not too sure as to why. As Arimus spins into the wall when he's hit the wall hard. He's gonna break it. He's broken his front wing. Lukanowski is disqualified from qualifying for blocking the pit entry. He was blocking his teammate Benolds, and that is not good for him. As I think Half-Lap Harry tried to pit and then missed the pit entry, from what I've heard in my ear from Half-Lap Harry himself. As Suzuki here heading around the last corner. He's had quite an adventurous season so far, always been at the sharp end of the midfield. Over the line for Amansuki, he goes up into P5 with a 117.0. He's 4 tenths behind Half-Lap Harry. Amansuki and Smidge Bomb are the main 2 rivals in the midfield, and Amansuki is beating his rival by 2 positions at the moment. He's half a second ahead of Smidge Bomb and 4 tenths ahead of K's, which is very nice. Meanwhile, we have Cal's Mockin through. We have Flubble up as well, clattering the curbs as we head round. There's Cal's Mockin saying that he's never actually watched a race around the Hungaroring, let alone driven it. So he's on the back foot already. Meanwhile, his teammate is flying at Purple Sector 2. That means he's the fastest of anyone near him at the moment. We have out of the penultimate corner for Flubberlob. He was the runner-up of last season. He could have been the champion. He lost out due to circumstances sometimes out of his control, but he goes over the line up into P2. 3 tenths ahead of Bryus and back in up the sharp end of the field. He came from 16th on the grid up into P3 last time out in Japan. So let's see if he can do a good session today. He did have a decent qualifying in Japan, but he got disqualified for parking in a dangerous location. As now he's looking for redemption here in qualifying. He's looking to actually stay in the place where he qualified. As K's going over the line, he's starting a lap. K9 Cube, it looks like he's ending a lap in the Toyota Haas as he goes over the curb nearly on the exit of the penultimate corner, but round the last corner and over the line for K9 Cube. He goes from P9 and stays there. He doesn't improve his lap time. Smidge Bomb is starting a lap, so he will not have improved his time at all. As Arimus, Arimus starting a lap again? I think he is. He's on his out lap at the moment. He's looking to redeem himself from the spin earlier on in the session. Cal's Mockin goes over the line up into P11 and a whole second away from Benolds. As with a lack of knowledge of the track, to be fair, he's done a decent lap. It's not a 119. It's only a few hundredths away from that, but nonetheless, here's Randro then, the championship leader, the man at the top of the pile here in Slav Talk Racing. He's had a very competitive season so far. Him and Luko Siux are the 2 dominant forces here in Slav Talk. Has got to restart the recording. 3, 2, 1, and go. There's Randro here into the next corner. Very aggressive on the entry again. He's just able to keep the car and keep the momentum of the speed from the entry of the corner. Smidge Bomb goes ahead of Amansuki with a 116.8. He's 2 tenths away from Half-Lap Harry. So he's looking to stay ahead of Amansuki because those 2 have been battling all season long. Meanwhile, we have potentially one of the Red Bulls. And one of the Mercedes. So we have Benolds heading around the final few corners. He's going to end a lap. Half-Lap Harry is starting a lap. So let's see. Here comes Benolds then at the last corner, over the curb, and up into P9, 2 tenths ahead of K9 Cube and half a second away from Amansuki. Major improvement for the Mercedes, 4 tenths up on his previous lap. Nice stuff there from Bernolds. Randro goes even faster than anyone as he goes to pole position with a 1:15.3, 2 tenths ahead of Luko Sierks. Nicely done there by the McLaren man here in Hungary, as Arribas now clocks a lap in, and it's a good lap to say the least, as he's only a few hundredths away from Flobolob. That is a very nice top 6, I have to say so myself. Top 10 to be fair, all of them very good drivers and very nicely placed. As Flobolob, as I've just had one of the drivers are in store, and that is Half Lap Harry spun. He has. Half Lap Harry is spun. That's why I could hear him not very happy in my ear. As K9 Cube's retired from the session, not too sure as to why. He doesn't think he can improve anymore in the session, so he will be 12th at least. As Half Lap Harry saying that he was 8.5 tenths up on his previous lap. That would have put him up into P3 at least, but he said he spun on the exit of turn 11. He's not happy with that one. Meanwhile, Randro is coming to his pits. We have Flobolob on a lap. Let's see what he can do. He's 3 tenths up. That's gonna eat. That could very well put him ahead of Luko Sierks if he can improve by a little bit more. But I don't think it'll put him anywhere near pole position yet, but he might be close to Luko Sierks. He nearly has a spin over the curbs there. That was very close at the chicane, turn 6 and 7 chicane. That was almost a big spin there for Flobolob, but heading around turn 11, a long corner with a lot of momentum being relied on in that Alpine Renault car. But the 99 Alpine over the curbs, he nearly invalidates there, but he just about hangs on to the lap without it being illegal. But heading around the last corner then for Flobolob. Let's see what he can do on the exit of the last corner. He sets a 1:15.4 and goes to P2. Meanwhile, Bernolds has been disqualified from the session for being parked in a dangerous location. That means both Mercedes are going to start on the back row of the grid. Luke Anarchy ahead of his teammate Bernolds, and they have both been disqualified. That's not good for the Mercedes team, which in 2026, in real life F1, they've been right at the front of the pile, and even in the Nürburgring 24 hours, they've been at the front of the pile. But here in Slav Talk, they are right at the bottom of the pile with 2 disqualifications to their name. As Luke Silent Assassin has set a 1:33.4, that is miles off the pace. For context, the car ahead of him is set a 1:18.9, as Flobble are bouncing over the curbs at the chicane. As I'm just trying to find someone who's on a lap. I think Cal's Mocking could be on a lap. He is. He's 3 tenths up, and he's spinning. He's spinning, and I just clicked off that, but he's nearly spun. He just kept out of the wall, but he did spin on the exit turn 4. As he was relying too much on those tyres through turn 4, and they gave up on him, and he just loops the car around. Silent Assassin has just improved his time to a 1:24.9, so that's only, I think, 6 seconds off the pace of Cal's Mocking in front of him. So Silent Assassin will have to do a little bit more to catch up, as we see Half Lap Harry in Sector 2. He's looking to start another lap, and hopefully a better lap to help his session out, as Silent Assassin has just spun top turn 4, same as Cal's Mocking earlier on, as Silent Assassin saying that's the second time he's spun at that corner, as that is not ideal for the Red Bull driver. Both Red Bulls seem to be struggling with grip in some of the medium and high speed corners, because we've seen Half Lap Harry also spin at turn 11, which is similar to turn 4 in the fact that you're relying a lot on the car and the grip of the downforce and the tyres, relying a lot on it to work, and sometimes it doesn't work, and the Red Bull seems to be quite an unstable car at the moment. As Half Lap Harry then, let's see what he can do on his next flying lap. We head through turn 2 with the Red Bull Honda nearly losing the car on the exit of the corner, but heading up the hill into turn 4. This corner has caught out a lot of drivers here, and also a lot of drivers just elsewhere as well. But Half-Lap Harry really committed. He's on the ragged edge of that Red Bull car, braking now, slowing the car down, and just carefully tiptoeing through the turn 6 and 7 chicane, through turn 8 and 9. Carry as much speed and momentum as you can around these unwinding S sections. As heading round turn 11, keep the car pinned, and he does keep it pinned. He's 9/10 up. This will be an incredible lap. This will put him potentially into P4, maybe P5 if he can improve. No, P3 should I say, if he can improve a little bit more as he heads round the last corner. This has been an absolutely beautiful looking lap from the Red Bull driver. He's wrung everything out of that car, and it's worked because it's put him P3 and a few hundredths away from Flobberlob. He'll be kicking himself at that gap to Flobberlob. He said he'll take it, but he was very close to going up into a provisional P2, but everyone else hasn't done their final laps yet. So we'll see who can do. Let's see what everyone else can do. As we have Smidge Bomb going over the line, he's starting a lap. We have Silent Assassin ending a lap. He's 2.4 seconds up, and he's set 121.8. He's still not ahead of Kazmokim, but he's at least improved to at least a few seconds away. As alright, bit struggling here. Right, anyway, we have Flubberlob then on an outlap and ending an outlap. Let's see what the Alpine driver can do. As Half-Lap Harry is stopped on the exit of turn 7. He might want to get moving soon because he doesn't want to end up like Benalt did, where he got disqualified from the session. Meanwhile, Luko Sioux has invalidated his final lap. That is a big shock for him. The V-Carb not able to set any improvement. Meanwhile, the pole sitter at the moment, Randro, is setting more of an improvement on that incredible 115.3. He's going to extend his margin for certain, unless he makes a drastic error in this last corner, which it doesn't look like he does. As he heads out the last corner, powers to the line, and sets a 1:15.1. 4 tenths ahead of Flubberlob. Let's see what the Alpine can do then. The Aston Martin Smidge Bomb goes over the line and stays in P10. We have the Red Bull of, I think that was Half-Lap Harry, who isn't setting a lap at all. Graham Shifty has gone in between both AlphaTauris and has set a 1:16.0. He's 300s ahead of Arimus. So the Saubers look like they're going to try and battle with the V-Carb, something they tried to do in Mexico but failed to do. But heading out the last corner with Flobberlob, does he take pole position? He doesn't. He improves his lap, but it's not enough. Randro is on pole position for the Hungarian Grand Prix here in Slav Talk Racing. What a session, I have to say so myself, as the McLaren driver showing again why he is a worthy champion for the second season of Slav Talk Racing. As the Half-Lap Harry, he's saying he's struggling with commitment through the fast right-hander of turn 11. He's struggling for commitment there because the car seems a bit unstable on the rear end. Yeah, lots of the cars looking like they're very oversteery, I have to say. As that's the incident report. That is the pit report. No one had a pit stop in this session, but yeah, that's it then for the qualifying session. We'll catch you in the race. There we go. So we will wait for the race then. And actually, while we wait for the race, I forgot something. Actually, no, I'm not going to do it. I would have done the national anthem, but I have had technical issues with that, so I'm not going to do it this time. Apologies, as I normally do it, but I don't want to risk the stream crashing, so I'm gonna lay off it today. So then, we're just waiting for players to ready up. So who do you think will win? I reckon Randro with pace, but also Flobberlob. He looks quite consistent, which is also a vital part of racing. You know, you can be quick, but if you're not consistently quick, then it's a bit of an issue for you, especially in a big, long race like this one. But yeah, we just had the Nürburgring 24 hours, and I didn't quite catch the results of that, but from what I saw, it was a frantic race. As well, we have the Indy 500 qualifying session later on today. That should be a good watch. I'm going to be watching it because I do love the Triple Crown of Motorsport and like the races that are involved in that. I am a big fan of them. So, yeah, the Indy 500, 24-hour Le Mans, Monaco Grand Prix. I'm going to be watching all of them, as well as all the other races in those championships. So, WEC, IndyCar, F1, ELMS, IMSA, the rest of them. So there's Formula E at Monaco as well. Formula E have actually just debuted their Gen 4 Formula E car around there, and it looks quite good, I must say. In terms of the actual race itself in Monaco, Dan Ticktum has taken pole position twice around Monaco, because they had 2 races at Monaco, so he took pole position for both races. I didn't quite catch what happened in the second race, I still haven't watched it yet. But for the first race, at least, Dan Ticktum himself, he was involved in a crash with Antonio Felix da Costa, and at the Nouvelle Chicane, and that wasn't the only crash, because right at the start of the race, one of the Andrettis had a crash with one of the Citroens at the Nouvelle Chicane as well, in a big melee at the Nouvelle Chicane. That place is always full of chaos when it comes to Formula E, but yeah, frantic racing. I can't wait for the Gen 4 cars, because I think the Gen 4 cars look a lot better, and they're gonna be a lot more challenging to race around these tight street circuits like Monaco. So yeah, it'll be interesting to watch. Indy 500, I am really looking forward to that. We have people like Connor Daly looking very quick, as well as obviously Alex Blow, who struggled with engine trouble in the first few practice sessions, but he seemed to have found his rhythm in the last few. Andretti look on the back foot in a very odd turn of events. Normally they're at the forefront of the field, but they seem to be on the back foot, which is a bit of a worry for them. And at the Speedway capital of the world, 24 hours ago, I was at my local speedway for Speedway Bikes, as I was doing filming and presenting and things like that for the Gladiator Speedway, and it was a good heat with the Scunthorpe Scorpions with this man Danny King. As yeah, the Gladiators, they won 49 to the Gladiators, and it was 41 to the Scunthorpe Scorpions in the team battle between those two. There wasn't any super heat for any draws or anything, because it was the first of the 2 meetings of the aggregate points. So just having a look here if I can catch any news. It was also Scott Nichols' birthday, so happy birthday to him. There's actually a video of him having happy birthday on some of the social medias. I have a video of it. I haven't posted it yet. I might have posted it by the time this goes out, so this will be good. On the YouTube, I mean. On the Twitch it won't have been posted yet, but on the YouTube it probably will have been. But yeah, it's been a good season so far, Speedway stuff. 7 meetings for the Gladiators, 4 on home soil. And hopefully we can look forward to more, as there will be 3 meetings in June in a row. So on the 13th, 14th, on the 13th, the 20th, and the 27th, there will be meetings on home soil for the Gladiators. So that'll be good to watch. Very busy month though for the Speedway scene in Plymouth, as Smidge Bomb and Silent Assassin have been reset on the grid. I haven't started the recording, my bad. 3, 2, 1, go. There we go. So, yeah, as I was saying, Smidge Bomb and Silent Assassin, they've been disqualified from the formation lap due to contact, from what I can hear in my ear. So the tyres are cold as anything at the moment right now. K9 Cube, the only man on the soft tyres. Looks like everyone else is on mediums apart from Luco and K's. Luco and K's are both on hards. Everyone else is on mediums. So this will be interesting. I reckon who's on the hards. I reckon Luco Sioux could drop back, but then come back later in the race to challenge. As yeah, it'll be interesting to see how strategy plays out today, because Hungary in terms of tyre wear, from what I remember anyway in the races I've done, that the tyre wear is normally quite high and quite bad, so that I think we could see a two-stop race today. If we see a one-stop race, I'll be really surprised if the person doing that one-stop strategy doesn't go right down the order. So yeah, it'll be interesting. Be interesting what happens here in Hungary. So, who will come out on top then? Will it be Randro? Will it be Floblob? Will it be Half Lap Harry? Or will it be Lukosiuk? Or will it be anyone else below them? Let's find out then. Here in Hungary. At the Hungaroring. 5 lights coming on in front of the 15 drivers today. 35 laps of action ahead of us. We have to wait no longer because Snapsall Racing, we are away. And Smidge Bomb has made a good start. So has Flobberlob. As he gets right up alongside the McLaren of Randro heading into turn 1. Bit of contact. Randro gets forced out wide. Randro wide, and he's lost 3-4 positions as there's concertinaing in the background. As I think one of the Saubers run into the back of Randro as one of the Red Bulls there battling in the background. That's Silent Assassin making up places, but Flobberlob has had the dream start with that slight bit of contact with Randro, who's gone from P1 to P5 at the moment. He's side by side with Lamansuki heading into turn 4. But Graham Shifty now looking to catch up to the back of the man ahead of him. As meanwhile, further back in the order, K9Q battling with Benolds. We have Silent Assassin getting ahead of Arimus, who's dropped down the order massively. I think Arimus ran into the back of one of the Saubers and dropped down the order massively along with Bryce and Randro. So a lot of drivers went up, a lot of drivers went down, especially from the front of the field, as Arimus now has gone from P6 to P11. That's a horrible start for him. As meanwhile the Mercedes now trying to chuck it down the inside of Arimus, but Arimus is not going to let that happen quite easily, or is he? Because down the inside of the penultimate corner, no, he doesn't make the move stick. As meanwhile, heading up the order, we have Randro now trying to make up ground after his disastrous lap 1 and disastrous turn 1, should I say, is heading into turn 1 then for the second time. Randro not able to make a move on Lukosiuk. We look further back in the order to this train of cars from 10th lower. We have Silent Assassin in 10th, everyone else behind him in this queue. Meanwhile, we have battling here with one of the AlphaTauris. That's Lukosiuk battling with Randro, who's struggling but trying to get past his championship rival. So Lukosiuk, that was a dream for him because he has leapfrogged his championship rival. Sure, he did lose out to the Sauber of Graham Shifty, but he has gained on his championship rival, which is crucial for him. As meanwhile, Silent Assassin has been passed by Arimus, and now Luke Anarchy is looking to get ahead of the Red Bull. As we head through the Essen section, as who's gone? Someone has spun, and it is Flobberlob, the leader, the man who had an open goal to take the lead of this race. He's spun, and now Half Lap Harry takes the lead. Randro has got back ahead of not just Lukosiuk, but also Floblob now because of that. The Sauber of Bryce is going wide there as he's battling with Smidge Bomb side by side between the pair of them. The two green cars heading out the last turn. And now they head down the straight and into turn 1. The Aston Martin just able to get ahead of the Sauber. The Sauber here trying to make a move on the Aston Martin. He gets the under and over. No, he doesn't. Meanwhile, Luke Anarchy gets ahead of Silent Assassin, who is dancing out of turn 1. And now the Ferrari of Case is all over the back of him. Is wide for the Red Bull. The Oracle Red Bull now round the outside for Case. That's a beautiful move that he's just pulled off on the Red Bull. So the Red Bull on the back foot here. Meanwhile, Case going up the order on the hard tyres. As meanwhile we have the Sauber of Graham Shifty with a whole train of cars behind him. Lukosiuk struggling on those hard tyres. Probably regretting that decision now because he is losing grip and ground on those hard tyres. He probably would have wanted medium tyres if Randro was to spin on that first lap, which he nearly did. He did lose a lot of positions on that first lap trying not to spin. But yeah, Randro now in P3. Half Lap Harry has taken advantage of the chaos that has been everyone losing ground on the first laps, and he has lost a lot as heading down the straight here. Let's see what Graham Shifty can do to battle with Randro. He can't do a lot, to be fair, because Randro is already into turn 1 ahead of the Sauber. The Sauber probably not able to fight that one as much as he wanted to. As meanwhile, we have, I think, Arimus. Yes, he has. He's got ahead of Kalsmok into Arimus now, making up ground as well. So the two people who are on the back foot on after lap 1 now making up ground. Meanwhile, we head up the order. I think, Silent Assassin has dropped all the way down the order to last place, which is not nice for him. So it's a Red Bull in first and a Red Bull in last. As Randro, though, with lightning pace on those medium tyres, and he is fueled with fire to try and get back up to P1 after the contact on that one with Flobbelob. As we have heading through the S's here, we have Arimus trying to catch up to the... As Flobbelob has spun again! Flobbelob again is round on the exit of turn 11. That corner has caught him out twice now, and now his teammate Kalsmok is right behind him. Incredible stuff. So I don't know what it is about Flobbelob and turn 11, but they do not go well together, because he has spun again at that corner. Randro sets the fastest lap of the race, and that has gone from bad to worse for Flobbelob. Meanwhile, side by side with Arimus, he's going to try and make the move on Bryce to get up into P7. But is he able to do so? He goes out of turn 1, side by side, heading into turn 2. Around the outside for the V-Carb driver. Is he going to make the move stick? Bryce is going to fight him, and he will win in this case as he gets out of turn 3 ahead of Arimus and keeps 7th place as they head up the hill and flick through turn 4. Nice stuff by the pair of them. Meanwhile, that isn't the only battle between the V-Carb and the Sauber, because the other V-Carb is trying to chase the other Sauber of Graham Shifty. So Luco Sioux trying to catch up as Silent Assassin gets a 3-second penalty. He becomes the first man to get a penalty in the race so far in terms of in-game, but 30 laps to go, and it's been a hectic 5 laps, I have to say so myself, as meanwhile the Ferrari of K's is trying to catch up to Cow's Mocking. So let's see what the Cow can do against the K's. Let's see, the Ferrari, he's been looking quick on those hard tyres. I don't know how quick he's going to end up, or I don't know how quick he's going to be able to get past Cal's Mocking, but he's going to want to do it soon, because otherwise he's going to lose out to the people in front of him. As meanwhile, Luco Sioux does get up into P3 ahead of Graham Shifty, and so does Arimus. Arimus gets ahead of the Sauber as well. The Sauber trying to come back at him. I thought he was going to run into the back of him then, but nope. So the Sauber of Bryce does lose the place to Arimus second time round. As down the inside for the Alpine, bit of contact there, but Flobbelob does get through at turn 2 and 3. There's a bit of argy-bargy there, as that's been Flobelob's entire race so far. It's either been a spin or a bit of argy-bargy with other cars. It's a bit wide there for Bryce that he's losing ground at the moment. But Kays did get ahead of Cal's Mocking, as he is back up into the top 10 after he fell down the order. So it's really odd on that one though. Lots of really high profile drivers from qualifying all fell down the order very quickly, but it was a shame to see, but it was also great to see, because then we had a lot of comebacks happening. Meanwhile, the Mercedes are battling each other. They battled in China momentarily, which cost them position to Derek Quay in what was the Ferrari at the time. But yeah, here on lap 7 then, we're a fifth of the way through the race. So let's see what the other 4 fifths can do in this race. There's a bit of contact there with the Sauber. I think he just clipped the pit wall as the recordings ended. 3, 2, 1, go. And we have Kays getting ahead of Bryce. Meanwhile, Smidgebomb battling with Amansuki. 2 old rivals going for it, heading into the second corner as Smidgebomb gets ahead momentarily. Amansuki looking to come back, but he hasn't got the room to at the moment. Meanwhile, Mercedes are also swapping positions as a bit wide there for Luke Anarchy, but Benolds is not able to get in front of his teammate, so his teammate leapfrogs Benolds, and nice stuff there by the Mercedes pairing, battling but not able to battle too hard to the point where they take each other out, which is nice for the pair of them. Meanwhile, heading through the S's here, let's see. Are these two going to go off? Or are these two going to be able to battle anymore? There's a bit of a slide there for Amansuki. Was I the only one who saw that? The Williams getting sideways there on the exit of turn 11, nearly doing what Flobolob did earlier on in the race. Meanwhile, Flobolob is a little bit behind him in that blue and pink car, the Alpine. As Arimus is also there as well. A lot of comeback drivers now, but they're now having to deal with this midfield scrap between Amansuki and Smidgebomb. These two have battled all season long, it feels like, as they've battled in most of the races so far. They've at least crossed paths once. As Cal Smocking gets ahead of Bryce, who goes into the bit. Big contact between Smidgebomb and Amansuki. Suki gets ahead of the Aston Martin momentarily, but lets him through. Good sportsmanship there, but he's now left himself open for Arimus to dive down the inside. Bit of contact between the pair of them, but Arimus gets through. And Amansuki now, gets through on the inside. Amansuki is able to get back ahead of Arimus up into turn 4. Amansuki was trying to let Smidgebomb through, because I think even he knew that was a bit dirty. He let the Aston through and had to really hustle to keep the V-car behind him. V-car, I think, almost just gave him the space to make the move again. As we have K's there in the background. This train of cars is really entertaining at the moment. As K's looking to pass the second Alpine of Flobolob on the main straight. So a lot is to play for on this main straight. As I hope the stream hasn't cut off. Let me just check here. My screen is froze. Just want to see, is my stream froze or something, or what? Is it done? Sorry for the pause in commentary here, but for me the stream has froze, and I'm not too sure if that means I've disconnected or not. Yep, I've disconnected. Hello there, my stream cut off. Apologies for that, but I am going to try and do the rest of the commentary while on here, hopefully, if it will let me. So, yeah, I can see chat. Right, good. So, yeah, the audio quality might be a little bit worse, but apologies for that. But 3, 2, 1, go. We are in safety car. I think it's like Assassin's or Brian's. I'm not so sure what happened, but we ended up in safety car, but my stream cut off before it, so I can't see what happened, which is a shame. Yeah, we are back. Nice and running. Do that from sync. currently in safety car at the moment. But yeah, lap 11 of 35 in this race so far. We have Half-Lap Harry, who is leading Randro, who had that disastrous first lap earlier on. Then comes Lucas Yertz, who's decent. He's up into P3. Who's then ahead of number 6. Then comes Flo Barrios, who have been struggling in this race. In the back foot at the start. Flo responds quite a time. Trying to make up for it since. Barrios had a really bad start. Since we've been trying to make up for it since. Hayes has been getting his way up the order ahead of Bryce now, who's fell down the order a little bit. Then comes County Monkey, Luke Allen, who's behind K9 Cube. Perez is falling behind K9 Cube. And then comes the Red Bull in last on the second. So it's Red Bull 115 at the moment. So, who will come out on top? On lap 12 of 35. Yeah, it should be a decent ending to the race. It's been quite chaotic. There's been a lot of content in the race. Just make sure I am recording after, yeah. So that's good. Next time, it's also the 3 hours and it is good for running H pattern. So hopefully you can expect some rallying content in the future. The safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. The field is essentially reset. Who will take the crown? Half-Lap Harry being very good in this race, always finding himself in great positions to do well. Can he capitalise on it? That's something yet to find out. So let's see then. In around the final few minutes, there's now Randro blasts off, and Half-Lap Harry, should I say, blasts off ahead of Randro, and that's a really early getaway for the Red Bull driver, who immediately cuts to the inside as they are all looking for a slipstream down that straight. It's incredible as they come back to turn 1. Into turn 2. Let's see, there's not really a lot of battling going on in the field. They've all been spread out because of how early Half-Lap Harry went. They are all looking really well behaved at the moment. We have Bryce with a 3-second penalty for travelling at warnings. That's a shame for him. I think Sun Assassin's going to take the battle for last, and Sun Assassin nearly spins. He does spin on the exit of turn 5. He leads the car around. That is a shame for him. Sun Assassin is moderately off the pace at the moment. He had one of the moments where he looked like he was going to make a pass at someone, and he gets on the exit curve. That is a shame for him. Meanwhile, his teammate is in the lead, and it's peaceful now. Back to holding up a little queue of cars. Samsuki is now trying to get a move done on the Aston Martin. He has to get a move done soon though, because the 99 Alpine is now right on the back of the 99 Williams. So he will be able to make a move into town right then. Right on board with the Alpine into town right then. He will break the 100 meter wall. No moves made in turn 1. By Luke Almaki heading into turn 2. Made always that move. He's just about hung in there. He makes contact with Kels Mocking. Very close to a race-ending crash there for the pair of them. A little bit of wheel banging, but all is done and made up for here in Hungary. Incredible stuff. Half-Lap Harry, meanwhile, his teammate is backwards on the exit of turn 4 again for the second lap in a row. Half-Lap Sun Assassin is spun. Meanwhile, here comes Randra on the outside of Half-Lap Harry. Is he going to make the move stick? No, not as of yet. Around the last corner they will go. Let's hit it around. Get on the power on the exit. Now they fly towards turn 1. It's DRS enabled for the pair of them. As, whoa, nearly spinning under DRS there as Randro. That's how rapid on the edge he is. Oh, that McLaren car down the straight. Incredible stuff. No move made heading round turn 1 and 2 for those two. Luke gets ahead of Cal's still side by side heading in to the next corner. But Anarchy gets out in front. No, he doesn't, because there's a little bit of tackle back there from Cal's mocking him. Bit larger, but quite nicely it looks like, because they're still looking to make moves on each other. But Cal's mocking backs out, he goes wide at time. So, needs to get this move done on the red bull because Sauber, both of them, will close up on these two if Hydro can't get a move done. So that would be quite bad for him as we head through to the last two corners. Randro, he's got his work out for him in that McLaren car. What can the number 11 do? He goes right to the pit wall, but is it enough to stop Randro coming through? He's going to dart to the outside of the track, loop it round turn 1, but no, he doesn't have enough room. And great defending by Half-Lap Harry to run him out of road. It's round the outside of turn 2 now. Here's a move that he made, no. Yeah, but this is remember also defending from Half-Lap Harry. He's doing a great job at keeping that McLaren behind him. Randro still not able to get ahead of Half-Lap Harry for the lead of the race. As they are heading into the turn 6 and turn 7 again is the other flag that Half-Lap Harry's teammates. Tires from the session, that's it for the assassin. He's out of the race. This is section turn 11 with Randro. Half-Lap Harry is going to make a mistake. Too short. At the exit speed on the exit of the last corner down to turn 1. That's 17th for Hungarian Grand Prix here for Slav Racing League. Left on 25 on the outside for Randro. But Half-Lap Harry again defends nicely, but he leaves himself open for a move into turn 2. Randro can he get enough speed into the second corner to make a move? He chucks it around the outside. He needs to move straight there. He gets it close enough, close enough to the back of the company. Element to turn 4. Too quick to make any sort of overtake. Meanwhile, 6 cars Ralph Amansuki. Big spin for the Williams driver who clips the car at turn 4 and loops the car round. As now Case has to watch out for the Williams who joining the track. That's a possibility at the time now. Now the salvage will let the back of the Ferrari. Drama for the Williams who's trying to pass Switch Bomb. Well, loops it round the turn 4 in spectacular fashion. That was kind of reminiscent of, I believe, Nicholas Latifi who did a similar thing at that corner. As well as Yuki Tsunoda, I think, as well, also spun at turn 4 in 2021 in Hungary in one of the practice sessions. Here in Slav Racing in 2026. Around the outside for Randro. No, he doesn't. He fakes a move to the inside. It's a dummy maneuver by Randro. But is Half-Lap Harry dumb enough to fall for it? No, he's not. He somehow stays ahead of the McLaren. Incredible. So Randro nearly caught out Half-Lap Harry there, but Half-Lap Harry was half a step ahead of Randro to stay ahead. Incredible. As the recording's just ended, I've just got to restart it. 3, 2, 1, and go. As on board now with Randro. That was an incredible defensive ball by Half-Lap Harry to stay ahead of the McLaren driver. He gets the second now, round turn 10. Turn 11, you have to have a lot of bravery to take that corner flat, or at least nearly flat. double hairpin section of the last two corners. Meanwhile, the outcome of now coming back to Aston Martin. This is back last season at Slav Racing. So no move there by the Alpine on the Aston Martin. Meanwhile, the McLaren around the outside of the Red Bull Honda. To make the move stick on the exit with DRS. He spins! Radro spins! And after trying to force an error from Half-Lap Harry forces the error out of Randall. The championship leader spins in the exit turn 1. Meanwhile, Flodder is caught from the top of the curve at turn 2 and not able to get past the Aston Martin in P5 now. But Randall in P4, Flodder still in P6. Incredible stuff here in Slav Talk. Lap 19 out of 35. Mistakes are starting to bring in for these Slav Talk racing drivers. So 14 cars left in the race. But the championship leader, the man who has been setting the benchmark for these drivers all season long, is starting to make mistakes now as down the inside there for phasing. Mistake round the outside of Arinos, who's trying to make a move on Florbelov. This is going to really help Smidge out. The Smidge has put a gap now on these two, but Florbelov keeps ahead of Arinos. Meanwhile, Randro gets ahead of Graham Shifty for the second time in this race in a comeback effort. He's down the inside for Arinos, who does get ahead of Florbelov. He nearly gets run into the back of by the Alpine. Meanwhile, Suzuki's trying to get a move on the Alpine, but not able to make it stick. Meanwhile, here comes the Haas, the Toyota Haas. Apologies. As we head through. Half past 8. UK time. Lap 20 out of 35, 15 laps to go, 1 so far, how these drivers are going to sort themselves out into championship order, into a race result order. It looks like Lucas Hills is trying to catch us back with Harry now. As we saw with Radro catching, is a lot easier than passing. Head up into turn 1 with he pulls to the right, driver's right, goes down the inside, switch bomb, tight on the inside, on the apex of turn 1, keeps ahead of Arimus. They nearly made contact such as Randro and Florbelov did at the start, but they just made to avoid any drama. Make amends for losing position earlier on. Yeah, right it, struggling. Comes to the second line in the race and also Toyota Haas trying to catch up to Chaos Monkey, but not able to do so as of yet. Trying to get ahead of the car, who's trying to get ahead of the Aston Martin. It's into outside, the 21V car down the inside of the 75 Aston Martin makes contact with the AlphaTauri Honda, and now looks like the Alpine Florbelov is going to try and make amends from this. So taking out the exit turn 3.
looks like both vehicles in the top 4. Looks like Lucas isn't done for being second place. He wants the win and wants to extend his margin in the championship fight so far. It's him versus Randro. Randro took the early lead, then Lucas took over. Randro's taken the lead back, and now Lucas looks to lead the championship for a second time this season. He's heading around the last corner. Onto the pit straight, these two separated by just over half a second. Two Red Bull branded cars, one of them a Red Bull, one of them a V-car. It's the pits for Switchbot, the first man to potentially be in the pits for a single round of pit stops, along with Amansuki and Bryce. Oh, bit of a look for the rear tyres there for Lucas Yost. Slides round turn 6 and loses 3 seconds to Haha Harry. That was almost a spin. But it's very slow and leaving the circumstances where he's now got to try and reclaim that deficit. Get himself back into the potential for the win. Randro here, then around the last corners. Looks like he's going to be able to make his spin earlier on. He's caught to just under a second. Because it's very shifty to pits with Harry's. Surprise gets a minute penalty for last lap, so it'll be interesting to see if Marius gets ahead of Will he come out ahead of Graham Shifty though? Around the outside for the Aston Martin on the Sauber, he goes deep in turn 1. Smith tries to hang it on the outside and makes it successful. He defends from the Sauber. Graham Shifty was trying to make it lead on the inside of turn 2. Great stuff there by Switchbomb, who has jumped, who's overcut. Right behind the nose. And it's off in turn 3. That is Bryce. Bryce is off in turn 3. That is a shame for him. He's spun on the middle of turn 3, on the exit of the middle of turn 3. On the runoff area. And he's very not close to the screen. He can't touch the glass and spin them, but it looks like he's really struggling for grip in that Sauber. Meanwhile, speaking of Sauber, the other Sauber is going down the orders. Lucas Yost has just taken the lead. He's side by side with Adlab Harry, but Harry defends very well into turn 2 to stay ahead of the Pickup. Meanwhile, Graham Shifty now trying to defend from absolute army behind him. He's running outside for Harry and Suki, but Suki gets ahead and is now looking to make a move on Bernard heading into turn 1. Will he be able to make it? Well, we'll see as we head into turn 1. Big move to the inside of the Mercedes, and now Arimus is looking to capitalise and get ahead of the Nolds as well. So Amansuki and Arimus both get ahead of the Nolds, and now the other side was off again at the last corner. He's running to the wall in the pit lane, it's only for a pit splitter, which is a shame. Meanwhile, we have the Ferrari on the inside of the Mercedes, not able to make a move at turn 4 and 5. But heading up into turn 6 and 7 as the Ferrari dives to the inside and makes the move stick. Case ahead of the Mercedes. 3, 2, 1, go. Heading through the rest of the section as Lucas Yost hits after that one the lead. He looks to potentially perform an undercut on Slav to get ahead of the Red Bull. Dead on 2 goes for Randro as well. He looks to undercut Randro as well. Does he go 6? Will he get ahead of Swan? Yes, right. Swan has pulled off a big gap between him and Kawasaki. And now, Amatsuki nearly into the back of the Alpine. Attempting early to fend off an attack from Arimus. As Kawasaki losing more loss, and making contact with K's there. As round the outside for the Ferrari, making contact with Kawasaki and now going right as a result. Kawasaki nearly spins and now loses 3 places in the first few corners of lap 26. But very frantic stuff there. Amatsuki nearly running into the back of the Alpine and having to swerve out the way aggressively to keep out the way of the Flobberlock further up the field now as I thought that was Graham Shift, even though that is Bryus, who is currently lapped at the moment. But will Flobberlock goes the pits? No, he stays out for a little bit longer. As we can see tyres down as he's out of the race for Bryus. He becomes the second retirement. Starts the race with behind the other Sauber of Graham Shifty, but Amatsuki now has to worry about Arimus into turn 1, who's looking for a movement as a good stick. And as we head round into turn 1, into turn 2, very close to the weaker, but he's not able to make the move still in the lead. Yeah, he gets very close on the exit turn 2. He gets ahead of Carl's Mocking on the exit of turn 1 and makes contact. Carl's Mocking in the wall. It's a huge hit into the wall for the Alpine, who is now facing the direction, facing the way. That is a big spin there. As Anarchy side by side with Carl's Mocking, and Mocking gets hit off into the wall on the exit of turn 3, and he becomes the 3rd retirement in this race. So 2 retirements in 2 laps consecutively. So 12 cars left in the race. It's that Bryus is on the side. Just took the fastest lap of the race on those medium tyres. So that's going to help the VCAR team out a lot. Another thing that will help the VCAR team would be Arimus to get ahead of Amatsuki. But is he able to do so? He's alongside Amatsuki, and he is, yes, now ahead of Amatsuki. Heading into turn 1. Amatsuki there trying to set it to come back at the VCAR, but he's not able to. Heading into turn 2. Catching up to the Knowles. Is a move going to be made between those two in the Toyota House versus the Mercedes? I don't think a move is going to be made there as of yet. We head through with the Toyota House before looking at the V-Carb Honda of Arimus, who drives like to catch up to the only Sauber left in the race. Meanwhile, I think like that was even for right back of the Knowles. That's how it's going from this guarantee that will be these two. As well as the last way out. It's a turn and Graham Shifty. This is the battle for P6 on the road at the moment, but no move made as of yet. Meanwhile, K9Q does get ahead of Benoit into turn 1, up into P11 for the Haas. Remember, the Toyota Haas does have a penalty, which will mean that Benoit would be still ahead of him if he could stay within 3 seconds of him. Meanwhile, Bradro here behind half a lap. Harry, is he able to Suzuki. This train from P6 and 7 and 8 between Graham Shifty, Arimus, Amansuki and Case. Looking very nicely, they're all within 5 seconds of each other. In the background of that shot you can see Andrew, who's still trying to catch up to half lap Harry with 5 laps to go. So let's see, looks like Luko Siuk's picking onto medium tyres, that'll only get me up to 3 versus down the inside for Amansuki, who does get ahead of Graham Shifty, heading out of turn 1 into turn 2. Shifty can't make a move on Harry. Meanwhile, Amansuki not able to get anywhere near those two for now. He's locking up. He was locking up for turn 2, hitting the curb a lot, heading through turn 4. And turn 5, that car is still looking a little bit slow. It's essentially the exit turn 5, and also turn 11 sometimes as well. You can see it's long back of Flubber it's a really good option. Some points in Sauber and the Alpine and the Haas. So that team could be at least having at 31 of 35. Floblob trying to defend, but he's defending the inevitable. As around the outside for Luko Siuk's. Is he going to make the move stick? No, Floblob dives in, makes contact, a bit of argy-bargy between the pair of them. On the exit of turn 1, they're still rubbing wheels on the exit of turn 1 into turn 2, Floblob just stays in front. Very aggressive driving by Floblob. The Alpine Renault man trying to defend from the AlphaTauri Honda man. The AlphaTauri not able to make the move. Well, that was really close to a big crash again with Floblob, who seems to have lots of contact in this race. He is racing for the life of him at the moment. It's great stuff. It's stuff that I'd expect to see from touring car racing, like in British Touring Car Championship with Tom Ingram, Nash, Sutton. I wouldn't expect it in Formula 1 open wheeler cars, but here we are, it's hands up, and they're banging wheels like they're in a banger race with stock cars. But heading out the last 2 corners, turn 13 and 14, the double hairpin section before the end of the lap, onto lap 32. Half lap Harry, 2 seconds ahead of Randro, then 2 seconds ahead of this battle. But will he be 10 seconds ahead of Floblob? No, he won't, because round the outside for Lucas Hughes, he gets ahead again, but Floblob dives to the inside, nearly makes contact, with first contact this time, and Lucas Hughes completes the move on the exit of turn 1 and gets it done. So the number 8 V-Cab ahead of the number 99 Alpine. Meanwhile, side by side, Case does get ahead of Amansuki, who tries to come back at him on the exit of turn 2. It's a valiant effort by the Williams. Can he get back at him with the DRS for Case? But no, he can't get back at him. We're heading around turn 3. Not able to get ahead of Case. He's struggling for grip in that Williams car. So is the Ferrari, to be fair. But Luke Almaki, K9 Cube and Bernard all in the pits for, I believe, soft tyres. Heading out of the turn 6 and turn 7 section. Behind Snitch Bomb. Is RV Car going to get even more points to add to their already big tally from this race? Lucas Siux in the first V car is in P3, and is currently in P6, behind Snitch Bomb. He's currently in P5, and he is looking to, that order is looking to slot number 33, and Arimus now. Which way is he going to go? He goes to the left, the outside of turn 1, to get round Smidge Bomb, but he's not able to, as I have to restart the recording. 3, 2, 1, go. Now into turn 2 between these two. Smidge Bomb ahead of Ariana still. So the 75 Aston Martin still ahead of the 21 V-Car. Mercedes powered Aston Martin ahead of the Honda powered V-Car, but it's a bit of a jump over the curve there by Smidge Bomb from what I saw. That was almost a bit of a spin for him, similar to what happened to Amansuki earlier, just a jump over that curve. But he didn't spin from it, which is heading through the S section on the top also. And I do miss Jordan, rest in peace to him. His team lives on in the Aston Martin name. 75. Lasted on that car here for Slav Racing here in the F1 25 game for this grassroots eSport league. A P5 for that team at the moment. That would be a great result for them if Switch 1 could hold on. But Switch 1, he's always been good in the midfield, but can he hold on for Arimus? Arimus dance to the inside. He pulls off the double maneuver, but it doesn't do anything for him, or does it? Because they're side by side in the way out of that corner. But no, Smidge 1 is able to just hang on ahead of Arimus. So nice stuff there by Arimus. Nice attempt to make a move, but no, the attempt was not worth it. Didn't make the move still. There's the V count is. Luke Anarchy sets the fastest lap of the race, 2 tenths quicker than the previous fastest lap set by Luko Siergs. So nice stuff there from Anarchy, as now K9Q goes a tenth quicker on his fastest lap attempt. This is like a qualifying session for the men in P10, 11 and 12. Benoit doesn't go quicker, so it's going to be a fastest lap contest between K9Q and Anarchy. So keep an eye on that one. There isn't any point for fastest lap, I don't think. But it's still a nice little road. Lap 35, the final lap of the race, here in Slavtorg. Luke Anarchy in P10, we have Arimus in P6. We have Graham Shifty actually, who's close up quite a lot to these two in this last lap. Here comes Arimus now, this will be his last chance into the best place of the country. Now switches to Salmon. He's not close enough to him. Let's see if he can get close to Salmon. He runs into the back of the Aston Martin on the mid part of Salmon. And that is actually really high in the run to turn 2. He's nowhere near the Aston Martin. That is a shame for progress. Having the order there to the man who is held on for way over half a lap. Half lap Harry here, doing a great job here in Hungary. He's been close to having a win before. He's won a few races before this season, I believe. He is turning out to be one of the more competent drivers in the field here in Slavtorg, but today he has shown that he can hold his own against the best with some great defensive driving. Half lap Harry is the winner of the Hungarian Grand Prix ahead of Randro. Then comes Luko Sierks behind his championship rival. Then comes Flobolob after many contact moments in the race. He comes home in P4. Then comes Smidge 1, who will just about get ahead of Arimus by just over 3 tenths of a second. That is incredible between those two. Graham Shifty comes home ahead of Arimus, who gets a penalty. So Graham Shifty 6, Arimus in 6. Cave comes home in the Ferrari to come home in 8th, ahead of Amansuki, who is on the soft tyres in 9th. Will he get the fastest lap? No, he won't. He is in P9. Luke Anarchy then on the soft tyres. He's going to come out of the final corner, out of turn 14, to finish in P10. And he is doing a little bit of weaving over the line to take in the moment. There's meanwhile the Haas, the Toyota Haas of K9Q in the number 15 car. There's a spin for Benoit on the last corner. That is a shame for him, but K9Q does take P11. And then Benoit, after spinning on the exit of turn 13, now comes over the line and spins again, doing what Sergio Perez did in 2014. Not ending in a dramatic circumstance. Well, thank you ever so much for watching the Slavtorg Racing Hungarian Grand Prix. I hope you enjoyed the action. If you want to hear more from me, you can catch me at the Gladiator Speedway on potentially the 20th or 27th of June. But before then, you can catch me right here for Slavtorg Racing for the remaining rounds of the season every Sunday at 7:30. or later UK time. And you can also catch me potentially doing other stuff as well, as I no longer have the radio station, but I will hopefully be looking to do more in the motorsport world, so hopefully I can bring you up to speed with more action, as I've been eyeing up the Tregrain hill climb potentially, so which is happening on June 12th, June 13th and June 14th. So hopefully I can commentate there. If I am, I'll update you on that furthermore. If I can or if I can't, but I should be able to, hopefully. So yeah, it should be a nice weekend. But yeah, the cleanest driver is Lucas Yokes. The most overtakes was done by Benolds. The driver of the day was Smidge Bomb. And the fastest lap did go to K9 Cube. And your race winner is the Red Bull of Half Lap Harry. Let's have a look at the incidents from that incredible race. Trying to make sure I get to the bottom in time. Quick, there we go. So that was that then. Thank you all ever so much for watching. Yeah, that was it then. So it's the Brit of Half Lap Harry who wins today. Thank you all ever so much for watching here in Slav Talk Racing. Thank you again to Slav Talk Racing League and Arimus for having me on again. It's been great to commentate on, and I hope to do this more. So yeah, that's all for now. Thank you all ever so much for watching. Apologies for the stream cutting off earlier on. But yeah, that's all for now. So thank you all for watching, and goodbye.